A dash of mystery, a sparkle of magic, and all things cozy. Join your host, Elle Hartford, for Cozy Alchemy, a proud member of the Authors on the Air network. Hello and welcome to Cozy Alchemy, the podcast all about cozy, wild books. I'm Elle, and my guest today is Taylor Epperson, author of Second Time's a Charm. We are going to get to that in just a minute, but first, Taylor's going to start us off with a game of two truths and a lie.
Hi, okay. I was an English major in college.
Okay.
Second Time's a Charm was my first rom-com. Lakin was not always going to be an assassin.
Ooh, okay. These are all very good, like very tight on theme. Which is good because I know that we'll be talking about them all later. We've had a couple people say things like, this was my first book, or that sort of thing, and I feel like I usually get it wrong. But maybe I'll just continue that. I'm going to guess that the first one is the lie.
The English major?
Yeah.
Yes.
Woohoo!
You got it.
So that begs the question, what did you actually major in?
I was actually majoring to be an elementary teacher, but I never finished college. I actually dropped out.
Fair enough. That happens. I majored in history, so we're a far cry from that. Okay, so that means that this is your first rom-com.
Yes.
And that Lakin was originally supposed to be something else.
Yes, he was.
Ooh. Okay, so we're definitely going to get to that later. But first, the reason we're here, your book, Second Time's a Charm, it's coming out at the end of April.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it to get us started?
Yes. Second Time's a Charm is a cozy fantasy rom-com. I like to say it's like Gilmore Girls meets like the world of Ella Enchanted. It follows Reese, who is a disgraced witch, when she returns to her hometown because she's taking over her father's sanctuary for magical creatures. When she gets there, she has to reunite with everything she left behind, including her ex-boyfriend, who's now this assassin. And she finds the sanctuary struggling, she's struggling, and it's about them working together to save it.
Nice. All right. So obviously romance, and we'll be talking about our romantic leads, but I'm sure you noticed, like, my first questions are like, we have to talk about the animal sanctuary.
Yes. The sanctuary for magical creatures.
Yes. Where did you get the inspiration for that?
So I'm a mom, and I had my daughter during COVID. So we were at home a lot, and sometimes we would get on TikTok and watch like animal videos because she loved animal videos. And every now and then I'd see one for like a sanctuary, and I was like, what if I like did that, but like I made it magical, like with magical creatures in a fantasy world. I was like, that would be so fun. So that's where it like originally started, like the idea came.
Nice. I love that. My husband is a big sucker for cat sanctuary videos.
Really?
Yeah. Constantly. It's the rescue cats. And some of them, it's like they're very sad and you want to rescue them appropriately.
Yeah.
So, and that leads really well into my next question, which is, where did you get the inspiration for the animals?
Right. Okay. So I live in Texas, and we've always had animals. We've always had chickens, and I've always had like, I don't know, like a fear of them. And I was like, what if I just made them a little evil, like just a little bit? And you know that they're in the book, they're called the Hellblazers. And they do, like, I did give them, like, a reason that they're feisty. So, I don't know. It was just, like, a fun spin. We've had goats in the past, too. So, some of those animals were from life experiences. And then the others I just let come to me as they wanted to.
I like that. It's a very organic approach to
Yes.
building your animal sanctuary. Now, so we start the story with Reese and her friend Maggie, right?
Hmm.
And they're in their flower shop. They're being very like hilariously terrified
Yes.
by a spider,
Yes.
which is such a fun setup for then Reese having to like go home and run an
Hmm.
animal sanctuary.
Hmm.
And I know I've had the authors, writers before kind of reach out and be like, well, how do you know where you just start your story, right? Like that's
Right.
kind of a common question.
Hmm.
So, given that you have such a lovely, fun starting, how did you come up with that?
Second time's a charm. So it always started with Reese getting the letter that she was
Mm.
gonna inherit her father's sanctuary. But it did not always include that scene with the magical spider in the greenhouse. That when I was drafting, I used a beta reader, one of my good friends, and we kind of realized that the book was originally starting with Reese like immediately leaving, and that if
Mm.
I gave some background to see like the life that she was leaving behind, it kind of opened up the door more so you can see why this is such a big deal, what she's leaving behind, the risk. And like you said, you get to see her with a creature and then she's going home to take care of them and she's like, "Oh my goodness."
It does. It gives us such a good setup and like a good grounding, I
Mhm.
think, in her
Yeah, and it
character.
built on her friendship with Maggie and a lot
Mm-hmm.
there and what she had built for herself in this new life that she was having to leave.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay, and I'm gonna put you on the spot just a little bit because
Okay.
the question then occurs to me. Obviously I had questions for you about the
Hmm.
sanctuary and Reese and Lakin, but what about Maggie? Like as the
Maggie.
friend, yeah.
I love Maggie. Maggie's like
Yeah.
she's the best little friend that Reese had. Um Maggie was always Maggie in my mind. Like her and Reese were kind of opposites in a way. They kind of is the word foiled, they foiled each other,
Mm.
where Reese struggles a lot. Maggie is very, this is like her dream flower shop. She's very into it. This like is it's very Maggie, where Reese is still feeling out of place. But Maggie is like an emotional support friend. She's very supportive. She's kind of like the friend that takes care of you.
Mm.
And I love their friendship. And it's so funny because their friendship like starts where they're both kind of in this place in their life where they're like helping each other get through it, and then they open a shop together and they do everything together, and then they have to separate. And you see that in the book when they come back together and they're like, this is so cruel. We don't know how to do this on our own. And that was
Yeah.
such a fun relationship to write. I love their friendship.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. I think I mean obviously the spider part is like very funny in that
Yes.
intro, but their chemistry I think is what makes it work
Yes,
especially
thank
well.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. Okay. So, we'll get to the romance now. So we if it's a second chance romance, of course, which
Hmm.
makes sense with the title. And Lakin and Reese both left town like for their own reasons, but they
Hmm.
had very different journeys before they ended up back at
Yes.
home. So we'll dive into that a little bit, but first I just wanted to ask you like why second chance romance? Like what makes it so poignant, do you think?
Yes. I love second chance romance. I am a
Mm.
big second chance romance fan. But it's just, I love writing second chance romance. I've actually, like, I'll write other books that I'm working on. I'm like, I can't do another second chance romance just because it's fun. I gotta stop. But, because when you see them together, there's so much chemistry
Mm.
because it's not like this stranger you're running back into. It's somebody that you had like a really strong relationship with, memories with, so it really builds the tension between them, especially like when they're taking care of the creatures or arguing, there's so much unsaid that's going on between them. But I also love Second Chance Romance for this book specifically because Second Time's a Charm is so much of like a coming home story. And I think in a lot of ways that's what Second Chance Romance is. It's, coming back to a person that was your home for a long time. And I think I don't know, I just love that. I love like the feeling comfort with this person and finding them after so long and it still being there.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's really sweet. Guys, I really appreciate what you're saying in like the one hand, like because you have the history of the first time around, like it's like you have immediate like tension and immediate like home feelings. So like on one hand, like that works so well. But then on the other hand, the fact that like you've been away and now you can appreciate it so much more.
Yeah, yes,
That's so cool. Yeah, we've had somebody else on the podcast, a couple months ago was also talking about how like with a lot of cozy books, and cozy stories, like having those moments or having like some tension in it or something else going on, like it just kind of highlights the coziness. Right?
Oh, yeah, yes, I totally agree. Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool the way it works. Okay. And I have to ask, because you have mentioned writing other stories. And
yes.
So this was your first rom-com,
yes.
right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Does that mean you've written other romances?
So when I got my literary agent, Second Time's a Charm is the third book that I queried. I had two more before that were more, I don't want to call them dark fantasy, but they were like more epic fantasy, more heist and that kind of plot. So
gotcha.
There were romances in them, but in those books, it was like the subplot. Whereas I realized that was really the main part that I like to write. And I was like, why? I was like, why haven't I tried a romance? Why not? Because that was my favorite part. I always struggled with everything else.
That's so cool. Okay, yeah, so I like this. So this was like just embracing
yes, this was embracing the romance and like this fun, whimsical, just joyful story.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we have to ask about Lakin now. Assassin, obviously, but what was he supposed to be?
When I originally started with Second Time's a Charm, which I like used to have these notes in my phone, Lakin was just like this next door neighbor like guy that was like, I see you're struggling. Do you want me to help you? But because the two books before that I wrote were those like darker, more epic fantasies. I was kind of missing like that edge. I was like, how do I make this work? Like I missed like the adrenaline rush or the danger. And I was like, what if I just make him an assassin? I was like, that's fine, right? I can make a love interest in assassin as long as I make it work.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Was it because you had written kind of the darker fantasies too? Was it pretty natural, or was it
well, it was easy. Like it was easy to write, but then like I guess with the Second Chance Romance, you have to make it like believable. So I had to keep him as an assassin but make him like still redeemable and a good person. There's a borderline there that I had to kind of match, but I really love Lakin's character. And once you find out, like his history and the reasons that he does what he does, he's a very layered character. He's like pretty complex and I love him.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's so fun. Okay. I feel like to like balance things out, talking about Reese a little bit. And I know I didn't necessarily prepare you for this, but
that's like, okay.
Yeah. like how about Reese? Like we've talked about Maggie and Lakin. Does she have a special place in your heart too?
Reese was I guess like Maggie, Reese was always going to be Reese.
Hmm.
I always wanted her to be a character that people could relate to that wasn't so much the sunshine. But a lot of
Ah.
times when we see Grumpy Sunshine, we see the girl as the sunshine. And I was like, it fits more into me and characters I relate to see her as like the grumpy, where I mean, she likes to complain. She struggles a lot. And when she struggles loud, like you're gonna know. And I wanted like a character that sometimes spoke a little bit too fast with their anger,
Yeah.
and she kind of like learns to work through that, but she's just like a very out there person, but in a little bit of a grumpy way.
Yeah. And funny, honestly. Like
Yes,
she's
yeah.
very funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's very relatable. She's a girl's girl. Like she's been there.
Mm.
She knows what you're going through.
Absolutely. Okie dokie. I obviously, when I'm like sitting down to write my questions, like I look at the book, but I also like read all the extra matter and like, um, you know, uh, acknowledgments, especially in
Hmm.
this case, right? Because you have a lot of people that you thank
I
in your
do.
acknowledgments, which is wonderful. Uh, but you also mentioned this like important promise to live the life that you wanted.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about that. Like, can you talk about how publishing has fit into that, and if it looks the way you thought it was going to?
Publishing is something, I'll tell you that. That's a learning experience.
I
Um,
figured, yeah.
right. So in my acknowledgments, I mentioned that actually came from my brother
Hmm.
who said that to me. And I when I started writing, like I mentioned earlier, I was a college dropout and I was a new mom during COVID, with postpartum. I was at home. And I don't know, there's like a time in your life where you really don't know where it's going to go. And during COVID, when book talk like blew back up, was actually when
Yeah.
I got back into reading. And I was like, I never wrote before. I actually did not know I was like being an author was never even like in my mind, like never crossed my
Really?
yeah, like I always
Yeah.
read. I like back in the day with like Percy Jackson and Divergent, like when that was big, I was
Yeah.
a really big reader, but I don't know, I never thought it was something I could do until I picked up
Mm.
reading again after having my daughter. And I don't know, I was just like sitting there and I was like, I could do this. Like, this is something I could actually do. And I feel like a lot of us have, like stories that we want to tell and things that we want to put out there. And publishing has been a lot more difficult than I expected. I will say,
Yeah.
I feel like when I got into publishing, I was perhaps a little naive about what it was going to look like.
Mm.
So, like I said, I wrote two books before that I queried and they did not do well, which is fair,
Fair.
totally
Yeah.
fair, because I was still learning. But second time's a charm. I don't know. I feel like I knew when I wrote it that it was different and that it was
Mm.
much better than the other two, for one. I was like, I can actually see this one going somewhere. And so yeah, like you said, publishing, it's hard, but I do feel like it fits into that place of that promise of living the life that I wanted. It's something I love. I love the stories. And like you said, I have so many people in my acknowledgments. I love meeting people. I've met so many wonderful people. I have an amazing agent that supports me, and my editor and my team at Grand Central. They're so lovely to work with. And I do feel like I found that.
That's so cool. I love that. I love so many things about this, but just especially the fact that it is tough, but you meet such good people too, right?
It's
tough
the friends
but worth
we
it.
met along the way.
Right. Right. And I just want to go back to what you were saying, and maybe you've kind of like touched on it already, but like when you were writing Second Time's a Charm, like, well, how did you know? Like, what was it that made you think, like, okay, this is the one?
Like I mentioned with the other two, the romance was like what I liked writing. And so the struggles that I had with those two, I didn't have with Second Time's a Charm. It felt much easier. Well, I say that. Second Time's a Charm took me a couple times to get right. Like, I tried to write it, and then it wasn't working. I got to like chapter 5, and I quit. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I actually set it aside for a couple months. And then I picked it back up, and I don't know what happened, but something clicked, and it worked much better. And I also, I don't know, I think I found like this love for the genre of cozy books, which was something I wasn't super experienced with until I started reading more in the genre. And then with Second Time's a Charm, especially, I really fell in love with like these fantasy rom-coms that were like magical and romantic. And I loved it so much. And I will say with the other two, I learned a lot. So I was able to like apply what I'd learned to like plotting and outlining and character arcs. So everything in this book just fleshed out as it was supposed to. And I just knew that I had a good feeling, I'll say, because you never know. You never know.
Fair.
But I was more confident when I started querying it. I had a good feeling about it.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And I love this kind of theme with your answers of just like, when it's time, it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have like my notes. And that's part of it, is that like everything in the timing just worked out for Second Time's a Charm. Like it was the right time to write it. And I knew when I wrote it that it was something special, and I just hoped that it was going to be special for other people too.
Yeah, I think there's something really neat about, especially when you're writing a book that you really love. Like, I think that comes through.
Yeah, I agree. I was so much like with the other two. You're confident at first, and then the confidence kind of starts to like go away as the rejections come in. But with Second Time's a Charm, it did better. Like in the query trenches, I got more requests pretty fast compared to my past two. But even when like the rejections came in, like I was still able to be like, okay, I still believe in this book. I'm still going to push it. We're still going to go.
Oh, yeah, that's a really important piece, I think. Yeah, being able to continue.
Yeah, the resilience. I really believed in Second Time's a Charm.
That's awesome. Okay, and it does lead us very well into our next question, which is, what's next? Are you going to continue writing this?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I do. So when I sold Second Time's a Charm, I did sell for 2 books. Book 2 will come out. Supposedly, this can always change. Don't quote me on anything. But it's slated for next year. It is another like magical rom-com, but it's totally different than Second Time's a Charm, like different world. I don't think I can really say too much. But
that's fair.
I am super excited for it. I love it so much. It's not like in the world or anything of Second Time's a Charm, so it's a whole new world we're going to learn about. And
I see.
I am really excited. I think we'll be able to announce some news for that early this summer.
Ooh, okay. Good. It's a good thing to stay tuned for.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Very nice. Okay. Now, I ask this of everybody. But what advice would you give to yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself like when you were just starting out? What would you say?
I feel like I would really just, I don't know, maybe just tell her to keep going, Because like I said earlier, I think I figured it out when I was supposed to with the book that I was supposed to. And even if the 2 books before like didn't make it anywhere and probably will never see the light of day, I still needed them. Like I still learned from them. And I met so many, I'm in the writing community, like on social medias. I met so many of my friends with those books. And I don't think if I wouldn't have had those books, I wouldn't have met those friends and seen what the publishing world really looked like. And then I wouldn't have been able to learn how to make Second Time's a Charm what it was. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's all connected. It was all like supposed to happen this way. So I don't know, maybe write those 2 bad books and just keep going.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And but I love that too, yeah, because it's so easy to get down on yourself, you know what I mean? So I think that is, I think that it's such a nice thing to be able to remember that, like, even if the book doesn't get published, like, there's still other things that come from it.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I cannot express the importance of like the writing community and the friends that I met, because like when you query, you have to write like a query letter and so much. And I did not know how to do any of that. So I learned like so much that I needed there to succeed with Second Time's a Charm that would have never happened if I wouldn't have wrote those other 2 books.
It's neat. It's very cool the way things come together.
Yes. It might be hard at the
cool.
time when those rejections are coming in, but it all mattered.
Nice. All right. Now, before we get into the final question, obviously I will have like the link to your website, your bio, and things like that in the show notes.
Okay.
But are there any other ways that you would like people to reach out to you or connect with you?
I think it's all like if my social media is there, my link tree is like in my bio. I'm pretty on social media, so that's probably the best way. But if not, the links in my bio are there.
Cool.
Yes.
Are you on Book Talk?
Technically, I'm there. I don't post much on TikTok anymore. It's
such an important part of your origin story. It's like
you're so right. I gotta get back to my roots. No, I just got a little like it's hard like balancing the social media and the actual writing part, and TikTok was one of those that I kind of had to step back from, especially because I have kids, so like it's hard to make videos when they're running around and screaming. There's toys everywhere behind me. It's fine.
Fair. I know it's a tough balance. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Actual life and writing, and
and then promoting your writing.
Yeah,
that's a full-time job.
Yeah, very understandable. I just had to ask.
Okay, thank you though.
All right, okay. So, ending on a high note, what is one win that you've had in the past week? It could be anything.
Last week I did turn in my final round of developmental edits on that next book, which I'm super excited for. If you guys want to stay tuned for a couple more months for book 2.
Very cool. Ooh, that's very exciting. All right, cool. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. You're so lovely to talk to.
Of course. Oh my gosh, thank you. And for listeners, like I said, I'll have information in the show notes, so you can go and check that out. Stay tuned until summer for the next exciting announcement, and I will talk to you next time. Cozy Alchemy is brought to you by Authors on the Air, and our theme music is by Cyberwave Orchestra. For everything else, blame Elle. You can find her online at ellehartford.com.